Oh, yeah. It's that special episode only comes once a year. It's time for Drink Why You Think's annual award show, the Drinkies. Where we
The
go back
drink.
over the last year, we highlight some of the standout moments of this ridiculous show. And what show is that? Yep, Drink Why You Think. It's the happy hour conversation between a couple of guys building their firms in really weird ways. I'm your host, Kenji, along with my buddy, trusty co-host, Matthew. We didn't even talk about this before, Matthew, but do we have a sponsor for today's show?
Well, half of us do. Today's episode of Drink While You Think is brought to you by Full Send. Our friends Stacy and Roman were kind enough when we saw them in Utah to bring us beer. That's all you have to do to sponsor Drink While You Think is just bring us beer. So do it right, folks. Do it full send.
Full
Dude,
Send
the
Crew.
Churro Stout. Boom. Like
You're gonna be
that
so
is
excited.
the beer from Colorado. For those of you that don't know, Roman and Stacy from Full Send. They are badasses. And Roman
That is true.
Roman sent us
They are badasses.
this is a stout with cinnamon and vanilla. It's the churro stout. So it's like everything that I love, stouts and churro. Like I don't even know. I don't think I even have to open it to rate it. Like it's gonna be epic. I
Crack it
have
open.
really high
Give it a little
expectations
pour.
for it.
Yeah. Give us a little sippy. Tell us how you're feeling with that one. Oh boy, I can tell. He's getting excited. I can see it in his face. He's thinking.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Well, and since Matthew has all the beer, he brought it all back from Utah with him. I didn't get one here, so we'll extend it. We'll maybe give them that just by that alone gives them a second episode. Maybe we'll see if we can get them on here. Maybe be better.
Okay.
So
We'll see.
but um, I'm drinking today the Sam Adams Just the Haze. But I want to show you something a little more quick so you can look at it even closer. See what the top says?
Non-alcoholic. Are
Everybody,
you
I
dry
mean,
wearing it?
we'll see. Everybody is. You and I have not really been doing that. I've been traveling the past 2 weeks and have not been doing that. And I feel like, I should maybe do it a bit more. So I'm trying a hazy Sam Adams beer that apparently has no alcohol. I'm a little concerned, folks. We're going to see how this goes, but
So you are, yeah, no excuses. Ooh, that's gonna be bad. Okay.
let's get into it. Let's get beyond these beers and let's get into the action, the way the drinkies work. We give out
Oh man.
awards. We've already got the categories, the nominations, the winners are all here. And Matthew and I are going to talk about each one of these. Going back through the 2023 season of Drink Why You Think, looking for some unusual, funny, maybe even insightful moments during this nonsensical
For the record, you
podcast.
haven't picked winners yet, right? Because I
I
have.
have. I have.
You've already picked winners?
Of course, I
Okay.
always do. I do this every year. And then you end up kind of debating me, or sometimes you're like, oh, that sounds about right. But
Okay.
someone needs to do a little bit of work behind the scenes on this one. So
Okay.
the way we'll
Let's
run through this is, again, the way we hit the beers first and we kind of get into the episodes.
mm.
So, and there's a few changes this year to some of our categories, a few slight moderations. When we hit those categories, I'll talk about why we have a few changes, but most of them are pretty consistent. Let's get into the beer awards, Matthew. We have a category of best brewery. And the way that we typically pick our best brewery is we often get beers from friends or we tend to drink from a bunch of different breweries. So it's kind of more an aggregate composite scoring across some breweries, that we hit quite a bit. And this year's first runner-up is actually one of the places that Matthew, you and I visited this year. And we were going to film and we didn't film at it. Do you remember which brewery this is?
No.
So maybe we had too much there. Runner up, and this one goes to Three Taverns Brewery. Three
Three
Taverns.
Taverns. Ooh.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
I do remember that now. So yeah.
We decided not to not to film and just to go there and just drink. We brought our stuff with us. We did not
Well,
film.
the time before that we tried to film there, we had
We
audio
did. We
problems.
we've tried two different times at Three Taverns, and apparently we have a love for it. We do like their beers. We typically rate them rather high. We tend to like them. It's a good. That's a good local one that now is. It's pretty close to you, Matthew. It's closer to me now that I've moved. But we like that spot. It's a nice spot over in Decatur. So check it out if you're around.
Yep.
But in our theme of local, the winner was actually a somewhat another local brewery. Who would you guess if you think about we drink multiples of these types of from this brewery, somewhat local. This is our winner this year for our
Creature
favorite
Comforts.
brewery. Oh, nailed it. Creature Comfort. And what else are they, Matthew? They are the 5-year running beer provider for AcuityCon.
That's how I was thinking. I was like, oh, we've been drinking, but they have something for everybody. Like
They
it
got
is.
everything.
They have the cider this year. They have the
Yeah.
Tropicalia, which is the classic. They have their Athena, right? Too.
Athena,
That's my favorite of
Bebo.
theirs. And what's the
Yeah,
other one?
the Athena got rated really high this year too. Individually, you like that one a lot. The Bebo,
The Bebo. Oh yeah, that's Marty's favorite.
classic. I think is it Classic City?
Mm, yeah,
I mean, we
classic
just
sea lager.
our tailgates are like full of them. Like we consume a lot of
So I agree. Creature Comforts. I
Creature
had a
Comfort
long
is our number one.
I had a long shot dark horse in there that I thought you'd throw in there this year.
Well, don't worry, it may come back. There may be one in there
Okay.
that could come back. You're
Okay.
thinking of.
Okay.
So those were our favorite breweries of the beer. It's kind of nice. Our first year ever, we got all Georgia breweries, kind of bringing the love back home to Atlanta. We'll have to see if that can continue. Well, pretty solid there. All right, now we go into favorite individual beers, both you and me.
Okay.
I've already run the numbers, looked at, of course, our trusty Untappd account.
Untappd.
It's one of the reasons why we use Untappd. We've got a record of everything we've consumed on this,
Does it
show,
do it
which
by
is
year?
oh, you can do it by date. Oh, yeah, I can look at it by date range and all kinds of things. So yeah, I can cohort the whole thing. It's a little scary sometimes
Okay.
when you see how
So
much we had there. So can you remember, Matthew, or recall for you what was your favorite beer of the year? What do you think the winner is here?
um I get my years mixed, but I'm
Okay.
my gut feeling was because of the emotion behind it. I think the Piton beer is up there.
That was a
Was it
different
this
year. It
year?
was a
That was a
different year.
different year? That was the
It
year
was a different
before.
year. So the Piton was not there. You rated that very high. Different beer this year. I'll give you one more hint. Think just something near and dear to your heart, real local as well. I thought this is what you were thinking of when you thought breweries.
Yeah. This wasn't Oaxaca chocolate year, I don't think.
No, no, it was not.
I love that one. Um, this is local brewery.
Yep. You may have forgotten you brought this on.
Oh man.
And there's a reason why you would have forgotten. Because this thing is a 12.8% Russian Imperial Stout monster. 12.8, almost 13% of it.
Which one is
That's
it?
like, it was the Siberius Maximus from Wrecking Bar.
Oh, from Wrecking Bar. Oh yeah. Yeah, that is I didn't know that was this year. Okay, yeah, Siberius Maximus. Oh, and I had the Mexican Siberius Maximus last week for this version, for this varietal. Not last week, it was probably 2 weeks ago. It's right before we went to Utah. Um, yeah. So yeah, the the Mexican version is better than the Mexican version from last. There's a Siberius Maximus, and then there's a Mexican's twist on it. Uh, but the Siberius Maximus is always better. Oh yeah, I was buying those. Oh yeah, yeah.
Dude,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you were very happy, and no wonder you don't. I can't. Those things are basically equivalent of wine. I mean, they're that strong. It's that's almost 13%. That's a
Oh, man,
monster of a
it
beer.
is a great stout, dude. It is a great stout. Like it is by far my favorite beer of last year. Oh yeah, that is true.
Yeah, you nailed. Yeah, I looked back and I was like, whoa, because you can see the ratings. All of a sudden, there's like this boom 5 point. I'm like, what is that?
It
I
is a
thought it might have
true.
been Piton.
It is a true 5 point though. Like it's like
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
but it's real rich. So like you gotta be in the mood, and it's 12%. So I mean, I
There you
usually
go.
drink it in 4 ounce things at the bar. If that's helpful.
You probably need to. That's probably
They have a
quick.
shorty. They have the 4 3-ounce pour. Just so you know, like I'm not just
Just
a
so you know,
crazy man. So,
he is
what was
sometimes.
yours,
But
dude? I'm dying to
okay,
know.
mine. I had to look for it. I had to kind of dig through the data. Mine was the Bodem from Half Acre Beer Company out of Chicago. It's a 6.7% IPA. And of course, we know a good beer coming out of Chicago. Where do you think that came from?
It came from Randy. I'm just guessing.
Of course, it came from
Did
Randy.
Randy
It
help
came
you
from
pick one?
Randy. He did. I mean, he sent us at the beginning of the year. He kept sending us beer. Like we can't get rid of this guy. Like he's just all over this. Like
Yeah.
he's tough. He's tough. He's like I'm trying to think of when you think about a big award ceremony, like who's always going to be in the fight. Like you're like, oh no, Randy Crafters. I mean, every Grammy artist has got to go. Oh no, Beyonce's in this category. Like, oh man, like this
Yeah.
is going to get tough. Or
Yep.
Meryl Streep or Jack Nicholson. Like you're just like, oh dang it, this is going to be
Yep.
DiCaprio. I got to go up against him. Like,
Yeah.
I
You
think
had me till
Randy's going to
DiCaprio. So
be. Okay, sorry. Come on, man. The modern era Nicholson. But yeah, it was a great one, a great Chicago IPA. I can't remember what episode oh, actually, that was a good episode with Patty when we had Patty on and we did our chief process officer. So that was a fun episode. We drank that one. So those were the top beers. Now we always finish though with our worst beers. Our worst beers.
oh man, I still go back to Budweiser next on
Dude,
this one.
nothing. I
Dude,
went back and looked last
nothing.
year. Nothing could compete with Budweiser next. Like
That
that's
was
actually
the
one of the reasons
worst
why
beer I've ever had in my entire
it's one
life.
of the reasons why I'm branching out because we've been picking really, really good beers. I'm like, it was kind of fun to get a weird wild variety. So I'm a little bit this year gonna get a little wacky and try some
Oh,
bizarre things just to get some more variety. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but I'm gonna drink like a sip of those then. Like I'm not gonna
I
have a
know.
beer. Like
We
that's
may have to have backup. We may have to have backup beers for the show.
backup beers for those. So we'll rate 2 at a
Yeah.
time.
I'll tell you what they were because you're not going to get. There are two of them. I think actually, what I realize is I was I was the one like who was poo pooing things this year. None of these were yours. The runner up for worst beer was the North Fork Nut Brown from Big Trout Brewing. Lisa brought these back for us from when she was living out in Colorado,
Yep.
and it looked like a really cool beer. Like it had been handwritten on. It was like right from the brewery. It was like less than a month old. It was like super cool, and it was just like you cracked it open, it's like flat. It was like just completely like just dead. So it may have been a one-off. Like they had a bad day or something. But I mean, it was pretty exciting to get this can. It's like right out of the brewery. You know, the brewmaster wrote the ABV and all the stuff on it, and you're like, nothing. It was not so good. And the worst one of the winner was actually a Hogarten. Now,
Hogarten.
yeah, just the basic Hogarten wheat beer. And
Yeah.
here's
Were
what
you
happened.
not were we not feeling it that day?
Bingo. We had just come back from Chicago at Randy's conference. And let's just
Oh,
say we were a little bleary-eyed on that podcast. We were both kind of like, wow, we went big in Chicago with Randy and crew. They treat us so well. There's so much great beer. We came back and I was looking for, I said, the lowest ABV beer I could find after this. And I got through half of it. And Matthews, you were like, I've never seen you get through half a beer. Like, that's it. I'm like, I'm just not. You're like, you're grumpy. I'm like, yep. And I took it out. I took it out on the Hogarth, but it got a 1.5. I was
that's
a
pretty
little
bad.
grumpy. It's pretty bad. But nothing has ever compared to the Budweiser next.
Yeah.
Bud Light next. Nothing's even come close. Nothing even come close. Okay.
Well,
Let's move into some actual
man, I
other
feel
categories for
scarred from that
podcasts.
still. Like I was so excited about that. They had an NFT. We were like doing the whole thing.
Due
Like
to the accounting, we created there was some good content coming out of that. There were some things that I think this is why we're going to change some things around this year. We were definitely different this year in a few places. Here's one of them. This first award shows how different things were.
we didn't even have any guests this year. I can't remember. Like
We had like 3 guests this year. We had 14 the year before. So that's also one of the we're not doing a best guest category because
we
there's
can't.
no.
Well, Patty
Yeah,
would sweep it, so it doesn't matter. Or Patty and Lisa. It's like Patty or Lisa.
Lisa wasn't on it. We had Randy on early in the year.
Yeah, but he
We
already
also
won.
So he already did. He would win everything. So
Who
he'll
else
come
was
back up in a he'll come back up in a minute. I'll tell you. I don't want to give away one of the awards coming up, but
okay?
um we had one about best location, and this was a little tough because I can't even call it a runner up, but from our house, like we did everything pretty much from home. We did not,
We
well,
did
except for
one from the quarterly offsite where I ran into the
the
screen door.
offsite. That was our winner. The quarterly offsite was our winner for the best location. That was our one. So that's who the drinking goes
Oh,
to.
that
That
was the
best
worst.
location to our amazing house and and the offsite. We got to love that place. Is amazing.
For those
Only one
that
we did this year.
didn't get to see
Only one we
that
did this year.
episode, I ran through a screen door while Kenji and Lisa were talking. You can't see it on camera, but you can see Lisa bust out. Yeah, I broke
You can see
Lisa.
it.
I broke
You can
Lisa.
see
She
that.
broke.
That was fantastic. That one may be brought back up. That could be in the running for another award here in a little bit. That
Okay.
was a classic one.
Not the blooper of the
Um,
year. That's not on
blooper
film.
of the year, not on film. I changed this one up again to let's see, best location. Oh, and where did it go? I think I must have. Oh wait, I missed our most watched episodes. We can track
Okay.
those. Now this is just on YouTube. So it's a little, but we're going to assume that it also correlates in some regard. I didn't pull all the data from all the podcasts as well, which I really should because we're missing out a ton. That's where most of the actual views are.
Most of the people on the podcast now. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, we're just we'll use YouTube views as a proxy in this case, but our most watched episode, our first runner up was the episode titled Our Journey of Scaling a Business with Ben Stein of Keeper. We had Ben
Oh,
on
cool.
early in the year. You remember that?
Oh, that's right.
Because
I
remember,
forgot about
Ben sent us that good beer that I think a family member of his down in Texas brewed. And so
Yep.
I think, if I remember, it was a cream ale. It's really good. And so Ben came on. That was our second most popular episode, having Ben on there.
Awesome.
So that was great, especially with what those guys are doing with Keeper. I mean, they're doing some really good things. I think that's where I hear we haven't been using it, but such a good up and coming software. It's fun to have Ben on. So Ben, congrats. You were the runner up there. But unfortunately, you were in one of these Beyonce categories, and the winner of the top, most watched episode was mental health awareness and burnout in accounting with the one and only Randy Crabtree. That was our top viewed. Randy came and talked about burnout and mental health. You were out of town, you were gone, so Randy and I did it together. But
Oh, wow.
he's just a dynamo. This guy, he's killed. I mean, he just,
Man.
yeah. That was a tough one. That was a tough one. But we
Your
really
homework
did
is to
do.
check the podcast stats and validate it next week
I
when
need to
we
validate
record.
those. I'll double check and see. Now, I'll say that we did cut back, and we cut back. I kind of cut back the intentionally. We had some feedback in past years of, hey, it's kind of fun having people on there, but like we were getting a lot of feedback from people saying they really liked when you and I would get on and talk about specific things in Acuity. They were like, hey, I want to hear you guys have been around a long time. I want to hear what things are working and not working. And they all know that we'll say anything. Like we'll tell you anything and everything, the good, bad, and the ugly. So we kind of leaned in over 2023. I was like, let's just really get into like how Acuity works, what we screwed up. So we went real heavy into that this year. Like real heavy.
I remember. You're
And so
big. That was important to you. I remember. So
and I don't know. It's probably good to pause here and talk about that. Like our stats show we do better numbers. We bring other people on. Like people are tired of, I don't know, like, oh, someone else on. Now, granted, those people are also going to promote and like there's going to be more virality because they're going to help push that. But I don't know. I think I'm going to bump up the guest count a bit. Does that seem right to you a bit for this year?
like every other month, like 6 is a good target.
Mhm.
6 is a good target.
Going from 14, which is too many probably, down to 3, that was just too big of a swing.
Yep.
We'll bump it up. We'll bump up to 6. We'll try that.
We'll get some volunteers already. So like
I know we've got a
volunteers,
few
a bunch of volunteers in Utah. So
a bunch of them there. They should be prepared and look out. Okay, only a couple more categories here. And so here's a new one I added. This one has a little bit of some subjectivity, but a lot of award shows do. What I'd love for this one to be in the future is most commented on episodes or just most interacted with episodes, right? Where
oh yeah.
And so I called it the most impactful episode. And this is a little bit based on, yes, we've had some comments on YouTube, or socials, but also people reaching out to us and just saying, hey, questions.
Yeah.
And so I pulled two episodes where I think that I've had a lot of feedback to where people are like, oh, that was really helpful. And a runner-up the first runner-up in the most impactful episode was a little bit of a tie between two episodes because we kind of went back and revisited it, but it was around our EOS content. We did two EOS podcasts this past year. We did one in January where we kicked off the year and kind of talked about why we were doing it. So we kind of let people ride along from like the decision-making point, like what we're doing. And then we came back 7 months later and like, all right, how's it going? And those, we got a lot of good feedback from people about like, oh, tell us more. I mean, so yeah.
That doesn't surprise me because that's consistent with my QuickBooks Connect session too, where Lisa and I did the session on EOS. That was probably the one where that and offshoring, we always get a lot of
that was the number one. That was the number one. And now that's subjective. Either one of those could be, but our episode on when we went through our international teams, what works, what doesn't. And I think that does touch on some of the reasons why we made some changes, because those are two very specific things we did: EOS and international teams. And we kind of go out there and just bare our soul on like, here's what's working, here's what's not working. And those are both topics that other firms are very, very interested in, right? So we got a lot of pull on those.
That's interesting. I can't believe I called that one.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about like, oh, well, you and I can get on and talk about any damn thing. However, that is a place at least we do have experience in that we've been slogging through for quite a while. And other people are either in it or considering it. So those were our two. I put the international as the slight favorites, but I could be convinced either way. Both those are the two topics, though. EOS international for sure. I don't know what next year will be though.
Don't know. We'll find out.
I mean, we'll have to figure out what topics then. Try to get people. I would love it people to kind of tell us like, hey, we'd love to hear you talk about Y and Z. Who knows? All right. Final topic. This one used to be we'd save the grand finale for favorite guest and surprise that person. It's just not going to happen this year. So this year I'm calling it kind of favorite moments, right? So
favorite moment. Okay.
Yeah. So we can just kind of go, I had to go back and look at these. Maybe we'll recall some, but I've got three in this one. So I've got a second runner-up along with the first one. And the second runner-up, I kind of forgotten about this until I went back and looked at it, was the leadership team episode when like having everybody through and we played, I don't think you remember this, but like, I don't know if you do. With every single one of them, I played Would You Rather. So they had to talk about what they're doing. And then I pulled a random Would You Rather card and each one of them had to like do some random on the spot thing. We got some really funny things there. For me, I mean, other people may be like, oh, whoever these people are, it's interesting. I like it. I love going back to it. Like in this kind of, it made me smile here and like Tyler and Ann and T-Mac and them all kind of give silly things. It was just a fun day, beautiful day. I love that. That was one of my favorite moments. But it led to what I'm calling the first runner-up moments. And you referred to it earlier, Matthew. You going through the screen door while we were live on recording and watching me and Lisa's face, especially Lisa's, we were just doing this. We just poured our drink and we're like, had our first sip. And we're kind of looking at each other. Also, we look up and you right through the screen door. And Lisa about spit out her glass of wine and fell on the ground. I mean, it was great. That was a classic.
That was a classic moment.
It was a classic.
I can't believe there's one that tops that.
It's kind of a broader one, but you can't think of any other episodes we did this year that were.
Man, I'm so bad at this.
That's okay. Here's what it was. Here's our winner. Doing almost an on the spot, like last 5 minutes before the episode launched, a live Ask Me Anything episode.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of our knucklehead friends.
A bunch of knuckleheads? Yeah, I remember that.
And we had questions like, who's the better accountant, Kenji or Matthew? How many beers would it take to get Matthew to go to a Las Vegas nightclub? Um, why was Matthew in a hot tub? There. Who's everyone's favorite accounting CEO? We got a whole bunch of just crazy randomness. I think people enjoyed that one. Um, I put that with a slight edge over you uh, plowing through the
As
screen
more
door.
people got to enjoy, probably now.
Yeah, more people
So
did.
just
More people did.
sheer enjoyment.
Sheer enjoyment factor. People were kind of egging us on, like, do it live, do it live. We were texting with
I
a
think
bunch of
there
our
should be
friends.
four of those,
I do
six
too.
guests. Yeah, so quarterly AMA, six guests. Okay, we're already planning 2024 here, people.
Yeah, we're planning it. Also, we're thinking about one concept you and I talked about too for the AMAs was starting to bring people on the show. Like if we can kind of try to keep it, we might need to have like a producer or someone kind of help us a little bit manage. It gets crazy. Like not just getting a little, answering questions that come in the live chat. Like, okay, let's bring them on real quick. We'll see how that could go. I had told Matthew I had a vision of that a little bit since we're both NFL football nerds of like the Manning
Manning
cast of
cast.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
Matthew and I are kind of the Peyton and Eli, and we bring on a guest and we're breaking and analyzing these. We are going to look for possibly some live content, some out there that maybe you and I will jump on Manning Cat style and kind of watch and make commentary on. Maybe, I don't know, could be the next Intuit earnings call, or it could be I don't know, it could be, right? You could do something kind of like that. So there's some. This year was a
We
good
got to
year, kind
stream
of.
that live though if we do that. Like we
I
got to
know
be
we have
live.
to.
Like it's not
This
funny
year,
if we
this year was the 2023 was a good year of doing some fun. The things are a little bit more intentional around things we do in the firm. I think was good. But my takeaway on the year, I look back, I'm like, man, we could have been a little more wacky. We could have been a little more, had a little more fun with it. We had some unintentional fun when our friends pushed us through the live AMA, or you walk through a screen door. But we'll see. It's good. We need a good blend of it, I think. So
Yeah, we got to get those live shots back and bring those recording devices out. That's another one.
and we
So
certainly traveled enough that we should have been able to do that, but we did not. I think we were almost traveling so much. It was almost nice to come back and sit and talk like this. I think that probably felt
yep.
more unusual for us actually being back in our homes doing that. So the times that people saw us on Drink What You Think back home were probably about the only times we were home, it felt like this year.
Probably.
Anyway, those are your drinkies for the year. Any other categories or awards you think we missed somewhere in there?
No.
No, pretty thorough.
You did
That's
pretty good
about that's
today. You
pretty
did
good.
pretty
Pretty
good, pretty
good.
non-controversial year.
Yeah, it was, yeah, exactly. That's what I felt when I looked at it and I realized I was looking back at old categories. I mean, there was in 2022 when we were doing, NFTs and journal entries for Bud Light Next NFTs and drinking Bud Light Next, and Scott Scarano was coming on talking about his weed pen and things. I mean, you realize, wow, we kind of grew up a little bit last year. And no, it was good, but we might have to get a little funky again.
You might have to cross some lines next year. Okay, I got it.
Okay, well, maybe we'll see about that. In the meantime, I'm gonna go and get some beers rated up here.
So the candidate
Can
for
we
worst beer of the year already.
can we do yours first, Matthew? Yours again was the was it again?
Sorry, it's called the Churro Stout, and it's from the Cervecería in Colorado.
Churro Stouts. And say it one more time. The beer from the what brewery?
Cerveceria, Cervecería.
Okay, I got it.
You got it?
I got it. I'll try to do.
Yeah.
As you're tell me a little bit about it while you're thinking. I'm pulling it up here. Like what?
Well, we got a 6.0 kind of thing. Oh, we're
That very little. Is that it though? Serve a area up there.
the
Right
Churro
one.
Stout. No,
Not it. Oh well.
let's see. It's no S on churro.
Oh, there it is. Sorry,
Oh yeah, okay.
there it is.
Well, let's get that ranking up a little bit. Let's go from a
I
four dot
knew it.
A 4.0, baby.
Or oh, okay, okay. He liked it. Didn't come out of the gate too. I mean, like crazy with it, but again, okay. Bring
Well,
that
it's a
average
six
up.
percenter. It kind of like candy ass to stout, but that's all right.
You went a little easy on you. I mean,
It's all
I don't know
right.
if it. I don't know if
Roman's
the
a candy
ABV.
ass too, so I can say that.
You call him at the beginning a badass and a candy ass. So okay,
Well, I
whichever.
mean, 6%. Come on.
I
Like
know.
for
Well, I think
stout.
maybe just by crossing the line, bringing it from Colorado into Utah, the ABV lower automatically, like all beers tend to do there.
Yeah, that's
Okay, now
awesome.
I'm going to go just the haze. I mean, I
0.5.
still got quite a bit left.
Dude, you've got to get this lower. There is no right way. This should not be a 3.5.
I'll tell you what it's like though. It's like it has actually a lot of the flavors of but it's almost like it's like a juice more than like a beer. It's not bad though. It's
Okay,
not bad,
keep it up there.
but
Keep it up
no,
there.
it's not going to be that high. I'm gonna give it like a 2.75.
You can't get it to 3, right?
I don't think so. I mean, it's not as I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a lot worse. Not bad.
That's good. Like
Not bad.
not
I mean, that's
didn't get into the ones. Kudos Samuel Adams. So
the big guys going to keep it going. So, well,
well,
like,
this is a
subscribe, share, all the things, folks. Be looking for more crazy episodes this year. Maybe get a little bit wilder, and maybe other accounting firm owners on those AMAs. You could be on here with us.
and I hope everybody had as great of a 23 as we did. So that's
I
the
do
hope,
too.
right? So
That's the hope.
it's a
Let's hope
great
24.
2024, guys.
Cheers,
Cheers.
everybody.